Well, we do receive voicemails here at the Core, and here's one that came in from one of our listeners named Jesse.
My question is it wrong for a Christian to want to be wealthy? And where is the line that determines whether you're being greedy or whether you're being ambitious? I've been very torn about this lately, trying to find that right place where I'm serving God in my heart and providing for my family and trying to excel in the workplace. But I just feel like it's a very blurry line between too much and not enough. Thank you very much. God bless you guys.
Jesse, man, God bless you as well. It's wrong for Christians to be lazy, I would say. Yeah, and if you got a strong work ethic, I mean, that's a good thing. Working hard and working hard and being devoted to whatever it is that you're doing and doing it with excellence, that can and ordinarily oftentimes, may result in acquiring wealth or in growing and advancing in whatever it is that you're doing. And so I think having that drive, that passion, is a good thing. Now, if it's the love of money, if it's clinging to money as this is what I'm putting my hope in. And, a lot of times people say, so many Christians today are, get all up in arms about, we make everything into an idol. Money is an idol, family is an idol or whatnot. But the truth is, Jesus gives a lot of warnings about how we view money and possessions and how easy it is for us to turn money and the drive for things into an idol, something that we bow down before, if you will. Jesus made it very clear in the Sermon on the Mount, you can't serve God and money. You're gonna love one master and hate the other. You're gonna hate one and love the other. And the Apostle Paul in 1 Timothy chapter 6, he also speaks about this. He says it's important for us to have contentment as the people of God. And so the question I would have for you is do you have that contentment, that contentment that comes from the Holy Spirit, that, Lord, I'm resting in you. I'm working hard and you're blessing me, and I praise you for that. But I'm not so driven by, the passion or lust for money that I'm compromising my commitment to you and my commitment to my family. That does happen. There are people who pursue riches to the extent of neglecting their own family. And so that would be a serious red flag. And again, that's what Paul gets at in 1 Corinthians chapter 6. He says, godliness with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into the world and we cannot take anything out of the world. But if we have food and clothing, with these we shall be content. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation, he says, into a snare, into many senseless and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction for the love of money. And that's the problem. You have to ask yourself, is it the love of money that's driving me? He says, for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evils. It is through this craving that some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many pangs. In other words, in that pursuit, in that ambition, is it taking you away from the faith? Is there this deep anxiety and discontentment and frustration and not that peace of the Holy Spirit? I think that's how you gauge this question. But if it's just, no, I mean, I'm walking with the Lord, I'm loving the Lord, I'm working hard and as unto the Lord, and God has, blessed me. I know it doesn't always work out that way, but for whatever reason, God has blessed me. That's a good thing. That's something to give thanks to God for. And so having riches isn't a sin in and of itself. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, Paul makes that clear just a little bit later in 1 Timothy chapter 6 when he says in verse 17, as for the rich in this present age, charge them not to be haughty, nor to set their hopes on the uncertainty of riches, but on God, who richly provides us with everything to enjoy. They are to do good, to be rich in good works, to be generous and ready to share, thus storing up treasure for themselves as a good foundation for the future, so that they may take hold of that which is truly life. In other words, those riches, it's just not ultimate for you. The real question is, are you rich in good works? With the ways that God has blessed you, are you sharing? Are you doing good to others? Are you being a good steward of the things that God has given you. And you're right, there is a fine line because, there are some people who maybe it looks like, they're just being blessed by God, but the reality is they're enslaved to the love of money, and that's what's driving them. And there are others where, they're really successful, and that there's nothing wrong with that. They're focused on the Lord. They're serving the Lord. And they're using the good gifts that God has given them to be generous to others. And so that's what you need to ask yourself is that happening, or is this taking me away from my relationship with Jesus and filling me again with anxiety and frustration? May God bless you. And I do, again, want to commend you because it's good to work hard and to take initiative and to be ambitious, not sinfully ambitious, but wanting to work hard with what God has given you. That's commendable. And as you do that, offering your whole self, all of your work to the Lord as an act of service to Him, your whole body as a living sacrifice, I think that is pleasing to God. And so may God be with you, Jesse, and may God use you. I don't know what it is that you do for work, but may God use you to be a blessing for others.